In Mary Shelley's novel Frankenstein, Shelley displays the effect a relationship can have on one's identity. Identity comes from self-reflection and how someone views themselves. Justine, the longtime family servant, is an example of what could have happened to the creature if it had been loved by the Frankensteins as a family member the same way Justine was. If the creature had been raised by Victor as a son, just as Caroline raised Justine, he may have garnered a sense of identity as a good person. This might have prevented the creature from becoming a hateful monster later on in life. The monster illustrates that one's view of themselves is partially dependent on how others view him, and so his identity changes and fluctuates from good to evil. The creature's identity as a monster is his source of confusion, and it is what ultimately leads him to identifying himself as a monster. This problem with his identity stems from his lack of family, his lack of a partner, and his lack of knowledge of his creation. The creature's lack of family affects him negatively. This causes him to realize that he misses out on having a relationship with people, and does not have anyone to teach him how to interact with other humans. You, my creator, abhor me. What hope can I gather from your fellow creatures? At first, the creature is unaware of his insufficiency of knowing how to connect with people, as whenever he approaches people they would run, scream, or throw objects at him. The children shrieked, one woman fainted, the whole village shrouds, some fled, some attacked me, which he at this time deemed a normal interaction. Later on, he discovers that families treat each other with kindness. I see bliss from which I am irrevocably excluded. The hyperbole expressed in this quote is used by Mary Shelley to mirror her feelings of desperation for familial affection. When the creature observes the de Lacys functioning as a family unit, he realizes that he does not have a family of his own, a family who will not look upon him in horror, people who will treat him as he observes the de Lacys treating one another, one that will give his existence meaning. If he is unable to experience any connections with humans, then this affirms that he is not human, and if he is not human and will never be accepted as one, then this confirms that he must be a monster. The creature's desire for a partner is derived from his observation of the de Lacys and their quiet sadness. Felix shows melancholy beyond expression, which dissipates when Sophia visits for the first time. The change in attitude and emotions is observed by the creature to be most extensive in Felix. The creature perceives Felix to be in the deepest despondence. Felix seemed ravished with delight when he saw her. Every trait of sorrow vanished from his face. In this quote, Shelley uses the juxtaposition of Felix's newfound happiness with his past sorrow to highlight the importance of a partner in shaping a person's identity. The creature relates to Felix's sorrow and despondence because he also feels alone and empty. I am alone and miserable. The monster assumes that if he convinces someone to be his companion, the sorrows will evaporate from his face just as Felix's have, that his existence would have meaning just as Felix's did. This pushes him further towards finding his identity as a monster. After Frankenstein agrees to make his creature companion, the creature says, I shall watch their process with unutterable anxiety. The creature then proceeds to follow Frankenstein all the way from Bellerive to England. This demonstrates the creature's intense desire not just to see his new partner, but also to see how his creator constructed him and beings of his kind. The creature who already lived loathed his own deformity, and might not conceive a greater abhorrence for it when it came before his eyes in the female form. Mary Shelley uses alliteration in the word pairs lived, loathed, and female form. The emphasis she puts on these two parts of the sentence show Frankenstein worrying about his creature hating his new partner, and in turn her hating him. She also might turn with disgust from him. After observing another creature like him, the creature himself would be disgusted with his own identity. The same happens when the monster sees his face in the water and says, when I became fully convinced that I was in reality the monster I am. The creature has a distorted sense of self when he sees his face because he realizes the monstrosity that he is. He realizes the villagers were right, and that he's very different from human beings. This self-realization is the final step to him becoming the monster that he is. The creature's lack of family, lack of partner, and understanding where he originates from are what lead the creature into his transformation as a monster. Towards the end of the novel, the creature finally identifies himself as a monster, when he says to Frankenstein, You are my creator, but I am your master, obey.